How long have you been doing this?
This specific podcast,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 months now, but I had one going before this for a bunch of
I
years.
remember you saying that on Rachel's.
Which I still do occasionally. It's been a while since I've done an episode, but I'll use that one for various things. Like I have remote coaching clients, and then when they reach a certain level of success, we do a success story interview.
Okay.
I'll get them on Zoom because just about anybody I coach is long distance. We'll get on Zoom, we'll record it side by side on Zoom, and that'll get uploaded as a video episode. I'll share the link with you.
Yeah.
Like I'll show you.
Love to see it.
And then I use that for other, like any kind of random things I do. Like sometimes I'll go over my annual health exams. I'll go over all the results on a podcast video.
Like your personal ones?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's the easiest thing to do. Just sharing by example, showing people your numbers, being very transparent. And they're not all perfect, but long story short, I've had my ups and downs in life. Like I used to have bad numbers when I was way off track, when I was in some dark times. And I share all that and I show people like, hey, I'm in my early 50s and here's proof. You can see my numbers trending better for the last 7 or 8 years, since I got things corrected. You put in the work, you live the lifestyle, you're going to get most of the benefits, whichever way you cut it. And then the other things that aren't perfect, it's okay. You don't throw in the towel just because everything's not perfect. So
and what it is today doesn't mean what it's going to be tomorrow.
Exactly. So this one started 2 months ago. I tell the whole story how this started on episode number 1, the first interview I did.
All right.
If you want to go flip back after you're on here and see, oh, that's how we started this. It's a good story.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'd love to hear it.
And it was very unexpected. Like I'm a believer, follower of Christ.
Same.
So I have all right, amen. So
Amen.
God speaks to me a lot lately. And so, especially over the last 10 years,
He's been talking to us too lately.
There you go. Amen. So you get it. So I talk about that. Whoever's watching is watching. I have a lot of followers, a lot of believers.
One of the reasons
who tune into my stuff.
Staying so hard with this is Pastor Britt from 1122 is a member of the gym.
Okay.
And he helped us. He was there since day one.
Right.
And he helped us. He just left.
Really?
And he's telling all the staff and just has been incredibly encouraging. And I didn't know him from Adam before this whole thing started.
Really?
And I was like, honey, this is touched by God.
Amen. But, yeah. Good stuff.
It's neat to see it. Yeah.
All right. You ready to roll?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Welcome back to the MIDLIFE Muscle Podcast. My name is Joey Atlas. And today we have Chris Phillips with us. Chris, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You got it. My pleasure. So anybody who's listening on the audio feeds, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, any of the other secondary players, you're going to want to come check out the video version of this one and all these other episodes because my guests are worth looking at, watching their facial expressions, the body language, the gestures. So here's what you do. Just go to midlifemusclepodcast.com. That's the shortcut link right to the YouTube channel of the podcast where you can see all the videos. You can subscribe. You could leave your comments. You can leave your questions under any episode. And as we get going in this episode, you're going to want to stay tuned because at the end, Chris is going to nominate a future guest, just like his wife, Rachel, nominated him.
That's right.
And if you haven't seen Rachel's episode, Rachel Phillips, you could see her several episodes ago. She's holding up the gluten-free protein pops, right, on the cover. There was another Rachel. You'll want to check out her episode too. And he says he's got a good question for me. So in the Turn the Tables portion of the episode, he's going to ask me a question. And then we're going to share the social media channel of Chris's choice. So as we get into this, Chris, we're gonna warm it up nice and easy. Okay.
All right. Go gentle.
Yep. So I'm gonna have you give us a brief self-intro, just like 5-6 sentences.
Okay.
What's the snapshot of this guy, Chris, sitting in that chair?
All right. Fair. My name, like you said, is Chris Phillips. I'm a proud husband and father of one 10-month-old Gabriel Peter.
Nice.
Pretty much the smiliest, happiest little baby, I think. I mean, I know I'm biased because he's mine, but he's a pretty rad little guy. I'm 44 years old, born and raised here in Jacksonville, Florida. Had lots of different looks and careers through my life. Came to fitness a little bit later in life, in about my mid-30s.
Okay. We'll go deeper on that too.
Yeah. Fitness has always been a part of my life, but
Right.
I'd say that, like, as far as a career, it's a little bit later in life that I did that.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
We're currently operating Hyperswole Gym. We're in the process of transitioning ownership of that, but that's
Rachel talked a bit about that.
She mentioned
on
a
her
little bit of
episode.
that.
We're going to go deeper on that. All
Okay.
right. Perfect
Yeah.
intro.
Love
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's go back to your childhood. You're born in Jax. Which part of Jax were you born in?
So I was born in Ponte Vedra, Palm Valley area. We kind of bounced around that area.
Okay.
My mom was a little local real estate legend out in
What was her name?
Sawgrass. Teresa Phillips
Okay.
was her name then. It's Teresa Dahl now.
Okay.
But she sold a lot of the houses out of like Arvida and the Sawgrass area.
Yeah. So when I first moved down in '99, my first wife, we bought in Sawmill Lakes, which
Yep.
was in Arvida
Yep, that's Arvida.
community.
I used to hear about him all the time when I was a little guy. Yep.
Glenn Amerson was like the building supervisor. She probably knows who he is.
Yeah.
Good guy.
Oh, I
Lovely
guarantee
guy.
it.
Yeah.
I can't go anywhere in this town with my mom and them. Teresa.
Understood. All right. So you're born in the area that I moved down to. So you grew up in Ponte Vedra area.
Grew up there.
And then which high school did you
I went to Nice. I went to Allen D. Nice High School. Yep. Graduated in 98.
Okay.
Off to Florida State and through 98 to about 2000. Transferred down to Santa Fe down in Gainesville.
Right.
Spent a little bit of time there and then came back and finished here at UNF.
Awesome. So you play any sports at Nice?
I did. I was football, wrestling, track and field. I really got into pole vaulting my junior and senior year. I did pretty well there. Set a record at the school. It's probably now since been smashed.
All right.
But
Well done.
loved football, but pole vaulting was kind of my sport towards the end.
Right. Very cool. Good stuff. Okay. So when did you actually get into fitness training?
Like when I first started working out kind of thing?
Yeah.
So I very much distinctly remember it. It was in probably the first time I touched a weight was middle school. And Landrum Middle School had just been built. It was really constructed.
Right.
And they had a little fitness gym in there, and our coach Malolo would take us in there every once in a while. And it was just machines. It wasn't free weights. And then when my mom and dad were splitting up my 7th or 8th grade year, he would start going to the gym at Bailey's. And it was a long drive for us back then.
Right.
You know, we had to go all the way from Ponte Vedra to Jax Beach. And this was like, I think maybe one of like 2 of the Bailey's locations that were out there. And Dave Bailey, the owner, was actually like front desk guy, janitor. I mean, do all the hats, right? And he'd come in there, and my dad would try to drop me off in the kids' corner, and I was not having the kids' corner. And I would see all the guys, and this was back in the day, like, early 90s, maybe late 80s, like the big pants, the big hair, the rock and roll music.
Yeah, the crazy wear pants.
Yeah, the dudes were throwing weight around, and I was like, I want to get in there so bad. And so Dave finally said, usually it's 16 and up, but we trust you, and we know your dad, and so I was like the first little kid that could go.
So you started training around 14ish, 15?
A little earlier than that.
13?
I think like 13. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, this is good. Okay, so quick side note. Most viewers, listeners, that most of our guests are from the Gym Jax. And the way Chris ended up in here is through his wife, Rachel, who was a former guest, who was nominated by Catherine DeVincentis. You know Catherine and Dr. D. Rob?
Yes.
They're members of the Gym Jax, of course.
Yeah.
And so that's how we're getting other guests on here, because members of the Gym Jax are referring other friends and people in the fitness realm who just don't go to the Gym Jax. You have your own place, or they're training somewhere else. So anybody, in case you're wondering, that's how Chris and Rachel are on here.
And we love the Jim Jacks. It's a fantastic facility.
Yeah, agreed.
Great
Understood.
gym.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I tell the story of how I ended up in there, because I was training at home for quite some time. I've got a setup at the house. I've got my own home gym system that I invented.
Right.
But again, when God lights that path in front of you,
yes,
you follow it, right?
For sure.
You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
All right. So you start training in the gym 12, 13, 14-ish. And then how does your fitness training and interest progress from there?
Always a part of my life. So then, like, it was so cool. And this was, once I did make the shift, these were the guys that I really thought of. Like, I was so scared and intimidated of them, but I wanted to be like them a lot,
right.
And I had a lot of insecurities, particularly through my parents' divorce going on at that time. I was in rough spots, ups and downs. Right. And I just looked forward to going to Bailey's so much every single day.
Like, so that was like a safety,
it's a sanctuary
line for you. Like,
and then as soon as I came in there, and it was like it was day one. I'll never forget. The guy's name is Kenny. He had long blonde hair, had a T-top red Corvette. He definitely had the zebra pants,
right.
And big puffed up dude. And he's like, "Come over here, boy. We're gonna squat." And I was like, "Yes, I love this guy." And he was everybody's friend. And then he introduced me to all the other just hulking monsters that I would have been petrified of, and they were the sweetest, nicest men that I'd ever met.
Understood.
And that is like totally a thing that I like to preach to people that come into our gym or any gym. It's like the biggest, scariest guy in the corner is oftentimes the nicest, most humble, ready to help you type person.
Exactly.
And people don't believe it till they see it.
And, and experience it.
And experience it, yeah. Because it is intimidating.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize most of these, and not just guys, but even the women, like, you dial the clock back, most of them started from a very insecure and uncertain place. Like, they were there.
Yeah.
They were you 10, 20, 30 years ago. So they understand where you're at right now. And they're, most of them, despite what they look like at the time, like quite intimidating and maybe even don't want to be bothered. No, it's the opposite most of the time.
And that's not 100%. Right.
They're ready and willing to, like, help you, get you onboarded, encourage you, teach you some things, and like fuel whatever part of the path you're on when you cross paths with them.
Correct. Yes, that's 100%.
It's a great dynamic. It's one of the things that I observed at the Jim Jacks on a few different levels. I could see that there was a really good open vibe there and a very accepting atmosphere of everybody. And I was like, there's something good going on.
That's what I love about gym culture in general.
Right.
It's more accepting than people think. Like, oh, I'm not ready. And the one thing I hear as a trainer is like, well, I'm going to hire you, but I'm going to go run for about 2 months and lose 20 pounds. And then, and it's like, man, come now. Like, you don't get better before you get, I'm not saying I'm a doctor, but like, you don't get better before you go to the doctor.
Just the doctor said I should lose weight before I start working out.
Right. Yeah.
What doctor are you going to?
I know, but that's all.
Good stuff. All right. So your training progresses.
Yes.
In your early 20s, where did your training take you?
So training for sports then, like it pretty much was training for sports and to get bigger. Because again, insecurities, scrawny little guy. I was definitely wanted to put on some muscle.
Right.
He-Man was my favorite cartoon.
Okay.
20s, like I would say we got college. Then when I graduated college, I had a marketing degree, followed mom's footsteps for a little while, and I joined Pulte Homes looking for a realtor, and it was more of like corporate type stuff.
In Jacks?
Here in Jacks, yes, sir. And then we were basically, working out afternoons, always working out. Always there.
Still at Bailey's and Jacks?
Sometimes I would always kind of gravitate back to it. But sometimes Bailey's, at least while I was here in Jacksonville. Then I, later in my later 20s, I moved around a little bit for other career opportunities and just worked at, like I moved to Atlanta for a little while, I moved to Dallas for a little while. Didn't spend much time in either of those cities, but just joined a local gym there.
Right.
And it was my after work thing. It was punching the clock. It was brushing your teeth. It was, I loved it. It was a stress relief for me. Whenever I had issues come up, you know, girlfriend breakup, you know, bad day at work, whatever, like I just wanted to go to the gym.
Understood. It is therapeutic.
Yes.
On many levels.
On a bunch of different levels.
Yes. Agreed. So how did you go from real estate to fitness? Let's go there.
Okay. So back in the day, you know, I think everyone listening to this is probably around our age, so they'll remember, you know, the market crashed and Pulte went from a really big bustling company at the time,
2008.
at least here in Jacksonville, around 08. Yeah. Right. And then they kind of shrunk down a little bit. And then I bumped around with a couple different careers. I went and worked with an uncle. I came back. I just was sick of traveling for work, and I came back here and I bartended for a while. That was fun, but I was now creeping into my 30s.
Right.
It was not the life that I wanted to continue to live.
Understood.
Went and worked with a friend's auto dealership company, went into internet sales there. And then when I met my wife, you know, I had always just thought that I was okay to work for somebody else. And I never really thought of myself as good enough maybe to be an entrepreneur, or that I, you know, could start a business and make something of myself that way. It was like, you just go out and you find a job. And I just followed the crowd a little bit. And Rachel had, when I met her, owned a bakery. And before that, she owned a catering company. Right. And I was like, wow. And then she picked herself up from Colorado and moved out here all by herself. Right. And it's just her inspiration, really. And I was like, this is something that I've always loved, and something that's brought me through a lot of dark times. It's been there for me when people haven't all the time. Right. And I've always loved sharing it with other people. I mean, this has always been my passion in my darkest days. And I think that this is what I want to do. And I was like 35, 36. Said it's now or never. I'm not getting any younger, so let's give it a shot.
Okay. And so what was that shot like?
So that shot, I'll never forget, is I scraped up some money and took a flight. I saw like traditional barbell training is something that I always loved. Right. And I was like, well, even though you just do something well and you'll be fine. But I was like, I need something new. I need, you know, that next new thing. And I saw steel mace on Instagram. Okay. So I saw some of the guys over in Austin doing it over at On It. Started following the On It page, started listening to some podcasts there, and got to know Eric, the guy, Eric Milan. He ended up being their head mace certification guy. And then I was like, I'm just, screw it. It's an expensive cert, but I'm going to pull the trigger. Right. I flew out there, got my cert, came back, and really just started doing mace classes on the beach. Right. And
on your own.
On my own. Yeah. Yeah. And then I was like, you know, I also need some experience. And God has always opened a lot of doors for us. And literally at church at 11:22 on the message board, it said looking for personal trainers. And I was like, this is like 2 weeks after I got back from Austin. So and I was like, all right, let's go this route. And so got in with a gym. I won't necessarily mention the gym, but I got wonderful experience from them. A lot of group stuff. It wasn't necessarily a philosophy that I totally believed in. It was like 30 minutes in and out. Right. Too much cardio in my opinion, but it was good for me to get reps in front of people. Right. And I really, really needed that. Yep. So I did that for about 3 to 5 months. And then a few of those people wanted to train with me one-on-one. And I really got to get into working with them on the barbell stuff. Right.
Where did you do the one-on-one training?
So it's funny, full circle. I kind of started sneaking people into Bailey's.
Okay. Training with each other.
Yes. Yeah. We were, you know, I'm working out next to him and I'm like, you know, trying not to look like a trainer. And
I've been there.
Yeah. So we did it at Bailey's a couple times. And then I remember going, you know, this just is not going to work. It's not sustainable. And I was looking at places to rent. And then my good buddy, Matt Thornton, who I'd known for about 10 or 15 years prior, I just saw a post say looking for personal trainers, and I messaged him, and one thing, if anyone knew Matt, he was incredibly enthusiastic. And he was like, get down here, let's do this, you know.
I met him long ago when I had a facility in
Did
Ponte
you?
Vedra. I had a studio in Ponte Vedra.
Okay. Was it next to like the Meridian place or?
It wasn't far from there. You know where Pinch a Penny Pool is right now?
Oh yeah.
Right. There's like those two like strip malls that look identical to each other.
Yep.
There's Starbucks in one end of the south one, and then the one right next to it has the Pinch a Penny Pool.
Yep.
My spot was where the Pinch a Penny Pool is.
Ah.
We started off by training a lot of local golfers and tennis players, athletes.
How long ago was that? I remember that spot.
You probably do. I mean, you could see us right from A1A.
Yeah.
It was called the Golfers Athletic Club
when
I first opened it.
I do remember that spot.
All right, that was us. And then we were training a lot of serious players.
I know. You had some PGA guys, right?
Oh, yeah. And their families and their agents. And a lot of them were like, you guys really have a special way of training people here. Like, my wife can do this, or my business partner can do it. Can they come train even though they're not a golfer or a tennis player? Or whatever? Like, absolutely.
Right.
And then we just opened the doors to everybody who wanted that style of training. Because by then, a lot of the local doctors, physical therapists were hearing about our style of training. You know, we're not going beast mode. We're not going heavy progressive overloads all the time. We have it's more of a gentle, very safe style of fitness training for all of us regular people who still want to get results. Right. We still want results, but we don't want to take risks and have setbacks that we have to like go get treated for in order to come back to the gym.
You get tremendous results. You don't need to go to beast mode.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that was an awesome experience. And then I eventually tapered that down, sold off the clients as I went more and more online.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
super cool. Yeah. I totally remember that spot.
Cool. We'll talk more about it in the future. That was a really, really good experience. So many awesome clients, made so many good friends and connections, and that was a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Huge blessing.
Yeah, I bet.
All right.
So Matt, he's like, get down here right now today. You know, I walked in and he was just so enthusiastic. He's like, I've been following you with because I was back then I'm very not good at social media now, which I know I should be. But he was following the stuff I was doing with the steel mace.
So he saw what you were doing.
He saw what we were doing, yeah. Okay. And he'd actually comment every once in a while. And then we finally hooked up, and he gave me a base rate for the rent. And he's like, just you can bring in one person, it's X amount of dollars. Do a class, it's X amount of dollars per person.
Okay.
The gym is your oyster. This is your space, whatever you want.
Nice.
And then from that point on, I was there and grew our book of business. Right. And he was incredibly gracious to us, like never changed our rent. It was all a handshake deal. Gave us the space that we needed, even when he was constructing new equipment and building new things in the gym. Like, he made sure that we always had a spot to train our clients.
Right.
Couldn't ask for a better guy to work with.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So from there, where did you progress? What was the next step?
So, well, I would say we're probably kind of in the middle of the next step. We lost Matt in November.
Oh, understood.
And Rachel and I had been there, like I said, for probably it was 6 years in November, so a little over 6 years.
At the Hyperswole location.
At the Hyperswole location. Mm-hmm. And, after the day it happened, we just kind of stayed there. And, I didn't.
Did he pass unexpectedly?
Very.
Really?
Yeah. It was very sudden. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of stayed and left it open, and members kept coming by, and his old clients kept coming by, and friends. And I mean, he was a bit of a local legend as a trainer and a gym owner. And they were very enthusiastic about us trying to continue to maintain it.
Got a lot of support that way.
It was incredible. I mean, it was overwhelming at times. Like, I get kind of chills just talking or thinking about it. And, we're in the middle of that process. Nothing's final. Nothing's said and done. But everything.
Are you like renegotiating lease and stuff like that?
Yeah, the landlord's been incredible. He's been really great to work with.
Right.
I've been working with his brother, who's been great. It's the whole state probate thing is a bit of a challenge. So we're the personal representatives to his estate, but it's taking us a little bit of time to transfer things over and like purchase equipment and things like that. I mean, this is not a process that's really got a playbook. But everything's moving in that direction. So unless something crazy happens, we should
keep you guys in my prayers with that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Pleasure.
We definitely appreciate that.
All right. Keep me posted even after all this.
We'll
stay in touch with you guys. I want to hear how it goes. Okay. So that's the fitness path, fitness journey, profession now in the fitness realm. For you personally, what does your current weekly training schedule look like on a weekly basis, overall framework? So for my personal workouts? Okay. Ooh, you had to do that, huh? Right in the middle of all the chaos. Life is life. It is. I'm still trying to get him in. So I'm what would be an ideal week at this current stage? An ideal week would be an uninterrupted hour a day. Okay. And what does the framework look like? Like Monday's this, Tuesday's that? So currently right now we've got Spartan race we're getting ready for. So I usually like to have, a goal on the calendar every once in a while. Right. Are both you and Rachel going to do that? Or just actually we're doing it in the gym. Matt, we all did it together about 3 or 4 years ago, and we wanted to do it and honor him. And it was like back, we did the Jacksonville Spartan one. Rachel and I have done the Spartan races for probably since we met 6 or 7 years, maybe 8 years now. Love the Spartan races, and it's so fun because you can travel around the country doing them, right, and make a little vacation out of it. It's really nice. But the one here in Jacksonville, we'd never miss that one. So we're training for that right now. So ideally it's total body training. I'm in a phase 2 of that currently, which phase 2 for me and what I like to do is kind of like that mid rep 8 to 12 rep range. Nice. Kind of hypertrophy range, but I'm going more for function right now as opposed to like muscle growth, like bodybuilding. Function and performance. So I got to get used to like running and being able to complete a task. So we're doing a lot of like circuit type stuff where you're running and then you perform a little bit of the exercise and then keep doing that. But basic barbell lifts, box jump, mace work, kettlebell stuff. But so back to the original question, it's really not, I don't have that time anymore. So I'm doing it now. So I'm doing it as you guys are transitioning through this period. Perfect example. I did 20 minutes today around 9 a.m. I just picked 2 lifts. I did a squat and a dumbbell push press. Right. And then right before I came to see you, I had another little break after a client, and I was doing a stability ball bench press and pull-ups. Okay, so this is awesome. I want to take a second here. A lot of my remote coaching clients know this. A lot of my Total Access Video on Demand membership clients know this. What you just heard Chris talk about is what I call, it's either like stealth sets, mini sessions, micro workouts. You don't have to always do 45 minutes straight, an hour straight, an hour and a half straight. 100%. When life challenges you, and it's going to challenge all of us at times, we have to make adjustments. We don't just throw in the towel. So Chris's example of stealth sets, micro sessions, mini workouts are what he just laid out. 2 exercises in the morning for alternating for 20 minutes, right? Yep. And then 2 exercises in the afternoon, evening? Yeah, midday. Right. So that's a total of just 4 exercises the whole day. All right. Keep this in mind. You don't have to do a full-blown routine or a full-blown program every single day to perfection in order to reach your goals. You got to be consistent. You got to be doing the right things most of the time. And you have to be willing to make adjustments just like this to bridge the gap when life challenges you a little bit. And it doesn't mean we're not going to miss days, right? We all have to take days off. But if you're being consistent the majority of the time on the days you're able to train, even if it's micro sets, stealth sessions, you're going to be able to take days off without missing a beat. Like, it'll actually benefit your body by having that unplanned day off. As long as you don't go wreck it at the food buffet or something like that. All right. That's a topic for another day. But I'm really glad you shared that, because a lot of people still don't understand this.
Yeah.
Like,
I talk to my clients about that too.
Yeah, it's huge. Like a couple of sets done the right way is enough on certain days.
I have a client that I'm meeting after you that I'm winding him out of a program that he got online. And I was like, it made my eyes pop out of my head at this leg day routine that he had. And, I think as far as volume goes, I mean, there must have been 35 or 40 sets on there, and all the machines and all the,
oh man.
And so, and the one that, gave the most benefit was in the middle, was squats.
Right.
And I was like, look, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take, first of all, too much volume. We're going to take your volume and split it up throughout the week. And on your legs, I just want you to squat.
Yeah.
Squat good. And we're going to squat right, and we're going to load it appropriately. But if you just pick the squat, which is, in my opinion, the king of all exercises, and you just work on that for 20 or 30 minutes, brother, you've got the best workout of the day. All of this other stuff. If you got the time, quad extensions, the hamstring, they're nice, but just pick the right exercises.
Yeah. Contextually speaking, depending on the person, you look at all factors, there are some things that very clearly just make sense to focus on.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. As long as the body is capable of everything, and like you're all checked out joint wise and things like that. And yes.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. So another perfect example. And I get it. Like, a lot of people, it could be confused. This is not their life. It's not their background. They haven't been doing this so many years. They didn't get certified. And they're looking at all these different information sources out there.
Well, now there's thousands of experts
on
Instagram telling you.
Quote unquote experts.
Yes.
Endless. And so
even some with doctors on their names.
Right. Don't get me started there.
I know, man.
That's another episode. We're going to break that down too. Scary, scary stuff. But, the benefit of this is that it gives people like us a platform to stand out on and come along and simplify things for people and help them make sense of what in here is good, what can we leave out, what will enhance your life the most without actually taking up most of your life, and making you possibly want to stop in the future because it's unrealistic.
Right.
If you don't get hurt first.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Very good point. All right, so let's transition to, I know Rachel spoke about this a bit, but how would you describe your weekly nutritional framework in an ideal regular week?
Ideal regular week is, so my food has increased, or I'm trying to increase it, because after all the changes started happening, I started dropping too much weight.
Stress.
Wasn't really eating much.
Right.
And not because I wasn't. I'm always hungry.
Understood.
Just time, and I'm running around. So I'm trying to get. I used to do. And my workout, like I said, workouts have changed. I used to kind of fast until around midday.
Yeah.
And I just personally like to eat big meals.
Right.
Like, that's just how I like to go. So I'd have a really big size lunch and even bigger dinner, snack before bed kind of thing. And I'd still hit, 3,000, 3,500 calories. I'd get all my macros in. I made sure I was still checking that stuff off. Currently now it is a little bit smaller meals throughout the day. So, like, say breakfast today, I had yogurt, fruit, a cake pop from Rachel.
Yeah, those are so good. I fired both of those things down that same night.
Warms our hearts. Thank you. And then a little bit of granola, for lunch. We try to make really big. She's such a good cook, and I'm so lucky.
Sounds like it.
I know that cooking can be challenging for people. And I think she mentioned it, but I try to Google stuff and I'll cook it.
Yeah.
But I double up the portions on everything, so I have food for the next day. So that's my quote unquote meal prep.
Right. Good.
And lots of whole natural foods. We had pizza a week ago.
Right.
We just try to, keep it as simple as we can. We indulge and enjoy when it's there, but try not to make it a daily thing. we've got foods that we have triggers on, and we just try not to keep them in the house.
Yeah, understood. Smart. Because if they are close by, the psychological tendency to like,
I was sick last weekend, and she was like, "Do you want any snacky things?" And the pretzels with peanut butter in them, we never get them, and she got those. They were gone in like a day and a half. And I plowed through it, and I looked at the bag, and I was like, that was like 1,400 calories right there.
We're human. See?
Yeah. So we try to, limit that kind of stuff, but stick to the basics.
Right. So her being a great chef, that background and history she has, if you want to hear more details about Chris and Rachel's nutrition approach, some of the finer details, go back and watch her episode. Again, she's the one holding the awesome protein, gluten-free cake pops. And you'll see there's a synergy between this episode with Chris and Rachel, worth watching back to back. All right. So are you a coffee or tea person?
Both. Yep. I
usually
do black coffee in the morning, probably 2 cups. I limit my caffeine in the afternoon. I like to do like a little lion's mane supplement, as far as kind of like brain stimulation in midday. But I really try to limit my caffeine because I'm also not a great sleeper.
Okay.
I do sometimes maybe another cup of coffee before workout, but that's about it.
Okay. What about teas? Any herbal teas? You into black tea?
Teas. I just had this immunity detox tea from a company called Ned that we like a lot. I've got a turmeric gold juice tea at night that I like, that with a little bit of chamomile.
Nice.
Kind of wind down, get ready for bed.
Right.
And if I put a magnesium threonate supplement we have in there, then I have to be drinking it in bed, because then I will pass out hard. I can't do this on the couch.
Cool. Yeah, good stuff. I'm gonna make note of that. We'll circle back on that offline or something. A lot of people are challenged by sleep, but that's a conversation for another day.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. All right. So without naming any name brands, let's do a quick rundown of any supplements you take.
Creatine monohydrate. Let's see. Green juice powder, red juice powder. The turmeric gold powder for night. CBD. That's about it.
Okay.
Try to keep it limited.
Right.
I would love to do whole foods for my vegetables and fruits, but I just don't eat enough of them. And I'm honest with myself with it. I try to supplement, and I give my clients the same advice. I try to supplement only what I need to supplement.
Right.
If I can get it through whole natural foods, I'm going to try to do that.
Understood. Good stuff. So if you feel you want to put the Brain Belly Body Elixir Mix,
I want to try it. Yes.
I'll send you I told Rachel I'll send you guys
excited
the label,
about that.
a full rundown. So for anybody watching, the reason why you're not hearing any other company advertisements or corporate sponsorships in this podcast, it's because I don't need them. I'm self-funding this. I sell plenty of my Brain Belly Body Elixir Mixer. It's a 6-in-1 foundational fitness formula. Selling this, and the sales are growing every month, and my Total Access online fitness membership. Those funds allow me to take the time, rent the space, do everything that's necessary to create this podcast. So it's basically self-funded. So on that note, Chris is going to put at least a week's sample version.
I'll give you as much as you can give me. Yeah, right. I'm excited about that.
And anybody else who's interested in learning about everything that's in here, the full story behind it, took 5 years to create the formula and perfect it. Just go to getlivingstrength.com, just like it sounds, getlivingstrength.com. The website will show you everything you need to know, and you could submit questions on the website if you want. All right, that's it for that. So here's if we talked about this briefly, you may have heard it in Rachel's podcast. Has there ever been an episode in life, whether it was an injury, a breakup, like a hard setback that either took you off track, where you had to find a way to get back on track, or made you focus on your fitness routines even more? And what was that episode?
Yeah, I think I'd have lots of them. I think, certainly the first big curveball, and I think it might be one of the reasons that I'm tied to fitness was my parents' divorce when I was younger. And I felt like even though my dad was the one taking me there, that even he didn't understand. And the gym was the only thing that understood.
Right.
Losing my job in my 20s, career ups and downs. I have so many still insecurities.
And those have always pushed
spots.
You to sticking to your fitness routine more so.
It's pushed me harder.
Okay.
I've gone down the roller coaster ride and it kind of always had the fitness with me on the way down. And then it's like, as soon as I'd hit a bottom, then it would always start with fitness. It would be like, all right, this is my way back. Right. I'm going to start here and then start picking up the rest of my life together and start, almost thinking with a little bit more clarity.
So it was like your foundation.
It was my foundation. Okay. That's a great way to put it.
So yeah, at the certain times when you did get off track, you actually did get off track with your fitness a few times, you're saying. Some.
I wouldn't give it the dedication and requirement that I knew.
Yeah. It was kind of flimsy.
Yeah, it was I don't know if I can half-assed approach to it when I went into it.
Understood. Okay. And then you use that as your baseline to really refocus, get structured again, get serious, and then rebuild from that foundation.
Yeah, like you said, I used it as my foundation. Right. And it started, and I knew where to start. I knew how to get by. If it was like one of those things where if all things in my life would be chaotic, and a lot of times they were, I knew fitness, and I knew where to go, and I knew the roadmap there.
Yeah, this is good.
I'm a kind of person that needs to have a roadmap. And so it's like with work, like if I lost a job or if an industry just melted away, well, where's my roadmap now? And I don't know. And I'm like, well, I know what to do here. So let's start here, and then we'll look for building blocks of that roadmap,
So this is really good. Again, this is something I'll teach private coaching clients. I've written about it, spoken about it on podcasts. If you're taking care of your fitness and health through your life, every other part of your life benefits. Even if and when you're going through challenging times.
Yep.
You're going to come out better if you're maintaining some semblance of a fitness routine and decent nutrition, as opposed to totally going off the rails, or like some people, never having been on track ever in their life. They don't even realize how much more challenging they're making their life by sacrificing their health in the swirl of everything.
Yep.
Right? So it's like you can make your life so much easier on so many levels, reduce the suffering, reduce the wasted time, the wasted energy that you don't even realize you don't have because you're not training and having it all built up in you to be able to use and live life on such a higher level in all regards.
And you
that's a
become more
perfect highlight of
to
that
it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Resiliency.
Yes. Yeah.
Life resiliency, injury resiliency, illness resiliency. Like when you're in better shape, you're stronger physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically. You have resiliency in all areas of your life.
And I tell people,
and it makes your life easier.
Well, it's because what are you doing? What is fitness? You're challenging yourself. And what we're talking about here is like when things do come at you like life, those are challenges.
Yes.
And you're doing these mini challenges in the gym every single day, literally training for life. And that's how I would always kind of equate it. And I try to explain that to my clients.
Right. And the challenge of self-discipline. Like self-discipline is challenging.
Of course it
right?
is.
So if you can learn to master that and make it easier and make it not so much of a challenge.
Right.
Oh, that makes your life so much easier.
Yes.
So much better. 100%. Write that down. That's a good one.
Yes, write that down, please.
Mastering self-discipline. All right, good stuff. What's one thing you wish you learned sooner as opposed to more recently?
I'll just say it. I'll give this one to the missus.
All right.
when we met, and did she do? I think she might have.
She told the story.
Did she tell a little bit
that
about
birthday party?
Yeah. But she talked about like, 'cause we always tease each other, like how I would eat or how I would. I think she did talk about it. I think she did. So I would. I was a bro, man. I was boiling the chicken breasts.
She did talk all about
I called them meat for the week. I would do sheet tray, like eye of round, tasteless little steaks. It was so bad.
Understood.
And one of the things I used to do is I'd separate my yolk from the egg and the egg white. And these poor, delicious, wonderful,
all the good stuff,
all the goodness, and I'm just dumping it down the dishwasher or the sink. And I wish I would have known how healthy the yolk was. Yeah. And, I mean, this was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So
yeah, understood. We all did it.
Yeah.
I did mine maybe 25, 30 years ago, but I remember the days, and like so many people. Here's the thing: so many people are still doing that now.
I know.
Still,
I mean, I still see egg white products at the grocery store. So that
really,
right there.
like, just get the egg.
Yeah.
Don't get something fake.
God knew what he did when he made the little thing for us to eat.
Exactly. Like it's all the good stuff is in there.
Yep. Yeah.
You're not pouring your eggs from a carton. It's just, and you're not doing yourself
any
good.
That.
No. And we're not yelling at you. We're just trying to help you. Yes. Like, don't fall prey to all these different product offerings out there when the real deal was already made by divine design.
Correct.
To feed this body and brain.
Yes.
Because that's what's necessary.
Yes. Yeah.
Great example.
So nutrition stuff like that.
Yeah. Good.
And it's so funny too, because I can go back to that time where I was so confident. And so like, because I was reading, the Muscle and Fitness and Flex magazines, and it's like, and I'm following this 300-pound genetic monsters diet, and it's just like, it was not working. I was taking every supplement in the book. And I'm still learning new things from incredibly talented, smart people with technique.
Right.
Every single day. I love mobility. I love bringing it to my clients.
Super important.
Just today I was watching a hip flexor mobility video. I'm like, oh, that's a brilliant move. I mean, there's as much bad as there is out there. There's a really good source of content information on YouTube.
Yes. It's a smaller percentage, and you just have to be a bit more discerning and
correct.
Ask somebody who's knowledgeable, like what you're looking at. Like, hey, is this real? Should I just scrap it, or what's your opinion on this piece of content? Yeah, so constantly learning off of those types of little things would be another thing. Yeah. Excellent. Good stuff. Okay. You ever have a major injury? Yes. Shoulder was dislocated and torn out of socket. How did that happen? Oh God, embarrassing. Mid-20s. Softball, not baseball. Softball. And practice, not game. Really? So this is practice, not a game. I was trying to beat out a triple, and I slid head first into the practice, not game. Right. And my elbow caught a bag, and it just ripped completely out. So I had to have it completely reconstructed. So that shoulder's been reconstructed? Left shoulder's been reconstructed, yes. And physical therapy afterward? PT afterwards, 6-month rehab. Whenever I see, and I can always spot it, whenever I see somebody in that shoulder sling, I just start praying for them. Yeah. It is the worst injury. I mean, I know there's other worse injuries, but gosh almighty, that was sleeping in a recliner. The month where I'm just starting to get light range of motion, putting on a t-shirt, showering. Thank God, all the little things. It was my left hand and not my right hand. That was rough. So does it ever bother you now? Not too much, just range of motion, because they tightened the ligaments on it a little bit. So I'll never have the range that I had on my right, because the ligaments are just shorter. Yeah. It's a little bit weaker, but I've done a lot of unilateral training over the years to kind of balance it out a little bit. Good. So, I mean, it's not perfect, but no one is. Right. So, you know how to manage it. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not setting any PRs with it anymore, but I'm good with that. The PR of life. That's what we're after. Correct. Right. Awesome. Okay. So this has been really good. So we're coming toward the end here. You ready to nominate somebody? I am. All right. I am. Who is it you're going to nominate for a future episode? So I'm
I'm going to expand your gym network, hopefully.
Nice.
Gentleman by the name of Joe Rivera.
Okay.
He owns Get It Fitness.
Get It Fitness. Where is that?
So last time I was there, I haven't been in a couple of, probably about a year since our last Spartan race. It was off St. John's Bluff.
Okay.
I think it's still there. But I did text Joe, and he said he was good with being
Awesome.
nominated. Incredible man, Marine Corps veteran.
Nice. What age range?
I think I don't want to go too old. I think he's close to 60.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nice. But he's a national elite Spartan racer. Like he
Rachel did mention him.
Podiums.
She said
like
that's who you might nominate.
Level.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. And he is the nicest man, wonderful business owner. Is so gracious to Rachel and I whenever we came there.
Right.
And he built, and if anyone's ever raced on a Spartan race, they know they don't just throw these obstacles up in an hour. Like these are really well constructed obstacles.
Have to be.
So Joe actually built replicas of them at Get It. And so if anyone wants to train for a Spartan race, I will send my business up the street to Joe and say, that's the spot you want to go to.
Very cool.
Because Joe's got like all of the obstacles that you need to, work on, and he's a brilliant programmer. So great dude.
Nice. All right. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll be in touch, and I'll remind you to connect me with him if you don't do it beforehand. All right. We're going to turn the tables now. Chris is going to ask me a question.
Been waiting on this. All right. So as like I said, I like being getting into entrepreneurship later in life.
Right.
Another brand new opportunity seemingly is on our horizon.
Yeah.
What would you say as an entrepreneur that I am respecting?
Thank you.
Your greatest strength and your greatest weakness?
Great question. So my greatest strength is creativity that comes from really observing details of situations, people's words, things people are doing, outcomes that are coming about through people's actions, and using that to fuel ideas or something that can be created that doesn't exist, or something that can be dramatically changed.
Yeah. That
is maybe something that does exist, but it needs to evolve a bit more to become something of greater value.
Mm-hmm. It's like kind of like a high level of emotional intelligence. Like you can really,
that's exactly
kind
it.
of zoom in on.
Okay. That's exactly it.
That's awesome.
It takes a bit of reflection. Like a lot of people live in a way that they're just observing and taking everything at face value and living life accordingly. Right. I've always had a very curious nature, inquisitive, and I've seen things get created. I've watched and listened to stories of how people create things, and that stuff resonates with me. And so I've always had I guess you could say, a developing ability to also want to create, and then also like just doing it. What am I hearing and seeing here, where there's something that doesn't exist that can exist, and then you have to build that bridge. Right.
Yep.
So it's the creative part of me that is fueled by this curiosity and this inquisitiveness and this desire to make things and create things that can benefit people.
Right.
Things that don't exist yet. Right. So if we look at, just take the fitness realm, for example, alone, just fitness alone. Look at all the things that used to exist 40 years ago or 50, and then take an inventory of everything that's been created afterward. That all required creativity.
Right.
From a human.
Yep.
Right. And so I love being one of those people to create and fill spaces of need
with further the journey of that.
Yeah. Right. With cool new solutions that make things easier, better, more enjoyable. Right. So creativity is the word.
Okay.
But it's, where does that creativity come from? What's it fueled by?
Right.
And you asked for the weakness.
It's a two-parter.
All right. So weakness is I'm unorganized.
Like we are brothers. We are same.
Very creative. I got a lot of drive.
Yeah.
Like I won't just create, but I will take action. Like this podcast is action.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm unorganized. Like you're seeing me now. I might seem very organized.
I was actually going to say you're
to do this episode.
You're wearing a great mask because right. You're pulling it off.
So I'll be very organized in the concentrated instances where it's necessary.
Got it.
But bigger picture, I'll admit, like I need an organizer in my life.
Yep.
Right. So that search is on.
Okay.
For an organizer in my life. So that's a weakness. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it is that there's a, scattering of various things in my life. Like,
gotcha.
One example is somehow I let mail pile up. Even though I'll go through it, like I won't sort it. Or if like work papers, financial papers, I've got a box here, then I've got a file cabinet there, and then I've got like an envelope, over in this other drawer. Like it's just not organized.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you, man.
So you could say, there's a joke. Somebody say, well, are you organized? Like, yeah, I have everything in one place. It's all in my house somewhere.
Right.
Right. So unorganized. Some is in the garage.
I am 100% with you. Of the many hats my talented wife has, thank God she has that, and she keep me somewhat on track with it.
That's all you need.
And if she points me in the right, like I lead in a lot of different ways, but she's got an organization.
She's got that covered.
Yes, and if she can put me in the right direction,
huge.
Oh, dude,
so valuable.
Yes, yeah, we need that.
Very cool. Yeah, great questions, Chris. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah,
worked on them very hard.
Good work. All right, so let's share the social channel you want to share before we wrap up. What's the social channel?
So I would say the gym.
Hyperswole. Instagram or Facebook?
Let's go with Insta. Rach has been running that account.
Okay. And what's the Insta handle for Hyperswole?
I believe it's at Hyperswole.
Okay.
I think it's
straight up.
Hyperswole.
HYPERSWOLE.
Believe so.
And if it's not, just search Hyperswole.
Search Hyperswole.
Hyperswole on Instagram.
For sure.
And probably see some photos of you guys, your clients, the facility.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? And I'll link to it in the show notes. So look below here. If you're watching the video version, check the description for this episode. I will put the link to the Instagram account in the show notes. And if you're reading this on the newsletter version with the audio versions attached, which you can get for free at midlifemusclenews.com. You can get the newsletter. It's free, midlifemusclenews.com. At that same location of the newsletter, you get the audio feed, and you could subscribe to that as well. It's sent to you automatically in a free app. I'll put the link in the show notes to that as well when I post the episode. So, Chris, that's it.
Thank you.
We're done.
That's awesome.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was great.
Great episode. So if anything interested you, if you're local in Jax and you want to check out Hyperswole, you guys are, we talked about this with Rachel. I know I crossed paths with you near or at the bridge, but I know I crossed them with Rachel because she was walking more of the time when I was doing my runs and walks.
Yeah.
What's the dog's name?
His name's Loki.
Loki.
Yeah, he's got a great. He's of course after our hearts. He's in Florida State right now. He's in Tallahassee.
All right.
The one other thing I did want to mention is a big thank you. And we're still going right. Is to our Top Tier Fitness. They're another fitness company that's helping us with Hyperswole.
Awesome.
They're running all Matt's kids programs. He was famous for the kids programs. Yeah, Greg and Sammy at Top Tier. Are top notch.
They're here in Jax.
Yeah, they're basically running the kid stuff out of Matt's. They both worked for Matt before he passed.
Awesome.
But we couldn't be doing any of that stuff without those guys.
Yeah, good.
We really appreciate them.
All right. So Hyperswole is on Atlantic Boulevard.
Yep.
Just before the San Pablo light.
Just look for RPM sign.
RPM sign. You guys are in that it's like a sideways strip mall kind of thing.
That's us.
Perfect. All right, that's it for this episode. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, you want to share some love, just check the comment section below. No matter where you're watching this from or listening to it, there's going to be a comment section. post below. You got any questions? You want us to expand on anything? I'm happy to do that, but you just got to post below and let us know. And until next time, peace and much love. We'll see you on the next episode.